You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of AfterBuzz TV's Teen Mom 2 After Show and Review. I'm here by myself again, but that is okay. I still have a lot of information for you guys. So tonight's episode was season 9, episode 8. We're coming along here really in this Teen Mom 2 season. I mean, we're episode 8. Not that much has happened. I know we're all saying that. But all right, well, we have a lot to get into today, so stay with us. I'm your host, Mackenzie Fain, and let's just dive right in, shall we? So, episode 8 called The Cold War. That is definitely fitting, I'll tell you that much. Usually I struggle with like why they title these, but they're definitely fitting for this one. So we start out with Janelle in this episode, and she's going to film. She agrees to film, and she's just like crippled in the car with her sinuses and pressure and all, and just shaking, and has to go home and sleep. She goes to the doctor. She has to get emergency sinus surgery. Now, let me tell you, I have broken my nose and in like 12 different places playing soccer, and I've had 2 nose surgeries because of it. It was just so smashed up and bad. So I totally understand the sinus pressure, the sinus, pain. I mean, it's bad. It is no joke. It is actually crippling. I remember having a nose surgery, and they had to, like, after the second one, they had to stick these 2 tampons up my nose after the surgery, and so everything would clot well and everything would stay in place because they took so much out. And nothing of my looks of my nose changed or anything, but I remember it just got so swollen, my whole face, and I like couldn't even hear. I couldn't even open my eyes. It hurt so bad. There was so much pressure there. So, I mean, I feel her pain. I feel so bad. That is nothing to mess around with. But the crew was really nice about it, and they were like, go home and sleep. You know, we don't want you out doing this. So, it was really nice. I swear, every time I get into the studio, my nose itches. Like, people are like, what is wrong with her? But, yeah, so we really got nothing from Janelle this episode. So, I mean, the problem is with not filming David, which I'm fine with. The problem is we really don't, like she said, we really don't get to see, like, her authentic, like, real life, because we don't get to see the problems at home with David. We don't get to see the sketchy, like, whatever is going on in their house and how they talk to each other and how they interact and things. Like, I feel like I was always picking up on so much when he was on the show. Like, well, oh my God, I feel like he's so controlling here and there. And now we kind of just get nothing. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about Janelle's part this season, and how David being taken off has affected, you know, her whole storyline. I mean, she's just held back a lot. I'm not like the biggest fan of David because obviously of many reasons, but it does add drama. So anyway, we get into Brianna. So she's talking about filming in New York, meeting up with John, her long distance boyfriend, but Louis, Stella's dad, also lives there. So she wants to go and meet with Louis in person. I mean, tell me what you guys think, because I was just thrown off by this. I was like, he doesn't answer her text back. He doesn't call her back. He doesn't answer anything. Doesn't face nothing. Any issues that she has with the daycare payments, he didn't pay anything. She gets no help and no answers really back from him. So what is the point of having a conversation with him in person? I mean, actually, now that I just heard myself say that, it's probably like maybe she wanted to like try something different. But I don't know. Can you really force a dad to be in a kid's life? I mean, I don't think so. But anyway, so he just says, or she says she wants to meet up with him. She wants to go over things, tell him that she filed for child support, and so on and so forth. So, she gets picked up by the airport by John, and he was super supportive about it. Like, I even wrote down, he said, she's like, I just hope it's a really fast conversation, in and out kind of thing. And he was like, no, like, it shouldn't be a fast conversation. You guys have a lot to talk about. And I thought that was so, so good of him to say, like, it is good that you're having this conversation. It's good that even though we don't get much time together and you're out here visiting me, you're taking the time to go do this because it's important. And he understands the importance of it. And I thought that was really cool of him. So let me know what you guys thought. So then she goes and meets with Lewis, and she sits down and she's just like, he goes, how's Stella? Did she get any better? Like, dude, you should know that. You should have known that. Did she get any better? Did my kid survive when she was in the hospital with an infection in her bone? Did she? Like, what if she was like, no, nope. Like, and then something horrible actually happened. Like, anyway, that pissed me off. And he was like, did she get better? Dude, why do you not know that? Why do you not care enough to know? And then she says, why don't you ask for pictures? Why don't you ask for any pictures? And he's like, do I always have to ask for pictures? And she's like, yeah. Like, you don't want to know what your daughter looks like? Do you even know what she looks like anymore? Like, she's walking around, starting to talk, saying yellow, like her first word. Like, big milestone things are happening in this kid's life, and he has no idea. He hasn't seen her since her first birthday, which, let's be real, at a kid's first birthday, they don't remember anything. They're still a baby. So, and she had to pay for him to go out there. I mean, yeah, that was just a disaster. But, she just pretty much point blank tells him, like, you're not there for her for, on any aspect, and how you said you were going to be there for her. And it, and I thought she handled herself very well. I thought she was composed, calm, collected. I mean, I thought she did a really good job. And when she ended the conversation and she went back and talked to John about it, she said, I didn't cry, I didn't cuss, I didn't, get upset, I didn't freak out, I didn't yell. And so it was funny to learn that she was happy with how she handled herself too, because it came very natural. So I thought it was a natural thing for her. But yeah, so I mean, it seemed to go well. She told him that she filed for child support, and he was like, I understand why you did that. And then his same old spiel of all you can do is try and trust my words, and I'm gonna do better, and whatever, dude. I don't know what to say to that. There's really nothing to say, because I mean, let's be real here. I mean, she kept this baby. She was fully going to give this baby up for adoption. And I'm not saying, nothing to do. Like, she's a great mom and she loves this baby. I'm not saying that, but she wanted to do what she wanted to do and make the smart decision, and, in her eyes. And he was the one that pulled her back and said, no, it's going to be okay. I'm going to be a great father. And she's raising this baby on her own, and it's so sad. But she's doing a great job. She really is. So we'll have to give her props for that. But I just feel bad because he's just, ugh. So we go on to Chelsea, and we have some custody agreement stuff still lingering. I mean, they're really talking about the whole idea of Cole adopting Aubrey, and I think Chelsea this episode hit it right on the head. She said Aubrey doesn't know everything about Adam like we do. She doesn't know what's everything that's going on, and for her it's not a easy decision. Like, oh, my dad's on drugs, and my dad never shows up, and my dad doesn't have a job, and my dad doesn't have custody of my sister. And so there's so many things for the adults that they're like, yeah, it'd just be easier, and there's really no point of keeping him, like, he's just a disappointment, and, you know. But to Aubrey, it's like, that's my dad, and she really doesn't, she sees the bad in him, but not like the adults do. But so the custody agreement, I guess, is Adam and his family can go to lunch at Aubrey's school, like once a week or something like that, which is interesting to me. But Adam's mom had went, and she said, okay, tomorrow your dad is going to come. And so Chelsea was very, you know, pissed about that. Like, you don't tell her that because he can't even follow through. So why would you tell her that? And sure enough, he doesn't go. So, and I mean, before I even found out that he doesn't go, it's like, rightfully so. Don't tell my kid that her father, who never keeps his word, never shows up for anything, literally got his supervised visitation rights canceled, that he's going to come to lunch tomorrow. And then I guess he didn't, you know, whatever. So he didn't come, and Aubrey gets in the car, and it was just sad because you could tell Chelsea's just hurt, and there's nothing she can do for her own kid. And I can't imagine that, like, agony. So Adam never comes to lunch, and Chelsea's just like, well, I'm really sorry that happened. And she goes, and I'm really annoyed about that, actually. Like, and just by that sentence alone, it's just cool that they really talk to each other on an understanding, emotional level. Like, you know, it's not okay. And she doesn't let her know, and she lets her know that it's not okay and that she's annoyed about it. And I think that that's a really great thing for them. But how cute was it when Aubrey wanted to call Cole and tell him, and she wanted him to be on speaker and to hear what he said. And, you know, she likes that he is affected by it and kind of stands up for her and is, you know, aggravated with them. And she likes that. So that was really cute. But Aubrey goes to Adam's parents, I guess, for a sleepover once a month. And Aubrey had said to her grandmother, you know, my dad didn't come. And the grandmother said, oh, he must have slept in, or he slept in. And when Aubrey told her parents that conversation, or Cole and Chelsea, they were just like, yeah, lunch is at noon. And Aubrey's like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Like, so it's like, she's not stupid, lady. I don't know what your problem is. But the cutest thing to wrap up Chelsea's whole piece was the fact that Aubrey wrote a little note, cute little thing for Cole, and she put, she addressed it and wrote to Dad on it, and he was beaming about it. And Chelsea just said, you know, Aubrey was saying when she wrote it that it would make Cole really happy, and she was so happy about it, to write Dad. And it's just so sweet, and I'm so glad that Aubrey has that role model and that fatherly figure that she lives with every day, and she can call Dad, because she doesn't have that. So it is really nice. We move on to Kale, who is it's a bunch of drama, like it was last week with this whole custody agreement and Joe, and out of nowhere, really. I mean, and so I do get her frustration. She's aggravated about it. It just came out of nowhere. They were really on good terms. Like, they had a really good relationship. But I guess she spoke to her lawyer. Best case scenario, she doesn't pay anything. And worst case scenario, she pays $2,300 a month. And I know there was a debate last week on what it was that Chelsea was asking for. And we definitely got more clarification this week. So he is asking for child support each month. He filed for child support. So he is asking for but he's also asking on top of that for backed child support. So he's asking for a lot. He's not just asking for what he thinks he's owed when she said, she'd take the child support away. So it's not just that. He is asking for child support from her, like, every month. And he even says, I think she makes so much money. He needs to live the same lifestyle, and I need to be able to do this and whatever. And so we did get clarification on that. So, and then at one point, Kale goes, so if you guys see me dancing on a pole somewhere, then, I mean, you know why. So that was funny of her to say. So she makes it very clear that she doesn't even want an apology from Joe. She's pissed. Like, she's like, I'm good. She really doesn't care. Isaac has this basketball event, preliminary basketball, whatever, and it's her first time seeing Joe since he filed, and she found out about all this. And so she doesn't say anything to him. It was just really awkward. He kind of like knew that it was an issue, so but he tried to be civil. Like, he didn't really look at her, but he was like, hey, Kale, like, really monotone under his breath, like, is she gonna say hi to me back? Should I make this like a thing? Like, I don't really know. But it didn't. She's just pissed. And so V texts Kale, and V tells the producers all about it, and Kale tells us about it. She just said she's like, I really wanted to reach out to her because I want them to sit down and talk about this. You know, they've come so far. We've all come so far with communication, and she doesn't understand why, you know, nobody's communicating anymore. And she's like, it's going to affect Isaac. And I mean, props for V, because she's being the only level-headed one in this. I think Kale and Joe in this situation both have their faults and in this situation, but it's really, really nice for V to step up and be like, hey, put your BS aside and let's be adults, because there's a child involved and he's gonna see. He's old enough to like realize what's going on. So, you know, Kale said, when Kale was talking about it, she said, V texted me to meet up and talk, and I said no. And then she said, and V wanted me to know that she doesn't agree with this and she wasn't pushing him to do it at all, which was good for her to say. But it is funny, like Kale says, in a way, she's like, it's a little weird. I mean, and I'm saying this too, like, but it is a little weird that your wife is completely on different terms than you. And like, and it was just also a little weird that as V as his wife is like kind of outing him in a way. Didn't you guys think, like, if my husband felt some type of way, whatever it may be, I mean, I don't think you really have to back them 100%, but I also don't think you have to like out them to the person. I don't know. I guess it depends on the situation, but I guess Kale said she offered to pay back this year, which was big, and she's like, I get it. I should have did it. It got carried away. I told him I would do it, so I'll pay him that back. And then her friend comes over and tries to talk sense into her and just saying, you know, this is bigger. There's a bigger picture here, and you need to see it, and it's Isaac, and he's going to be affected by this, and he shouldn't see these ups and downs. And I loved when she said that. He shouldn't see these ups and downs because there are going to be ups and downs throughout their relationship, and this is not going to be. And Kale needs to understand, this is not going to be the last issue that they're ever going to have. And so is she really going to bring Isaac along for that ride of, this week we're okay, this week we're not, next month we are, next month we are? Like, it's just not okay. But she is fired up. She wants nothing to do with him. I mean, you all saw her. She was like, nope, screw him. I don't even care if he apologizes to me. Like, no. But, I mean, she's a stubborn girl. We all know that. But we move on to Leah. She is staying... Well, okay, first of all, Jeremy's home from work, and he was supposed to pick up Addie one day, but he was sick, so he asked Leah to do it. And then Addie was saying, why can't I go to Daddy's? He's home. Like, she knew he was home, and he couldn't pick her up, and oh, it's just heartbreaking. But Leah just says that, you know, she doesn't want him to give her abandonment issues, because, yeah, he's a good dad, and he loves her, but there's more than that. So you need more than that sometimes. You need to be there and be consistent and call and keep that connection and show them. And And he's not doing that. It's so funny though. So the next day, Jeremy does pick her up, and then she gets in the car, and she's a firecracker. That kid's funny. She's like, Daddy, look at my muscles. I'm like you. And she's like, and what do you eat? Like, I want to eat what you eat. And he's just talking about how he eats vegetables, and she doesn't like it. But Leah wanted to talk to Jeremy, kind of, and she's not a very confrontational person, and you can see it. I mean, especially through this conversation, she's just like, Addie was so upset when you didn't come, and she was so sad. She was like, Daddy's home, why couldn't you get me? And Jeremy's just like, well, she needs to get over it because her dad's sick. Like, dude, she hasn't seen you. She never sees you. It's not, she needs to get over it. She's having issues. It's not okay. But, so Leah and the girls are staying at Jason's house, her new boyfriend's, and they kind of talk about it. And, she tells Jason about the conversation with Jeremy. And, I think the topic was overplayed a little bit. Like, they just kept going back and forth about, like, the same thing. Like, yeah, he needs to be sad, and we don't want her to have issues, and he's a good dad, but he needs to do this. And, they kept going on and on. But I will say, I do like Jason a lot more each time I see him, and each time I see him on the show and talking. He's very level-headed and grounded, and I hope it stays that way. So, yeah, so we got through all the girls. I mean, there's just not as much content, I feel like, as, say, OG this past season, or, Teen Mom 2 in the past. But we'll see. I don't know how many more episodes are left. I'll have to check that out for next week and figure that out. But, I mean, something's got to happen, right, guys? I'm telling you, something's got to happen. We've had some crazy things happen. But I didn't see my DVR cut out, so I didn't see what was on the next episode. So I don't have that for you guys, but I do have my predictions, and those are pretty good sometimes. So with Leah, I think that I predict there's going to be some kind of fired up, escalated conversation with Jeremy. I think Jason's going to push her into, getting all pissed off, and then it's going to come out very much so in a conversation with Jeremy with this whole Addie situation. I think Joe and Kale will have a conversation because they've come far enough where Joe knows her well enough, and V's very passionate about this, and she wants this to be okay. So I do think that we're going to see them talking, and it's not just going to be like this monotone issue. With Chelsea, I don't know. I just think it's going to be the same old crap with Adam. And I just really wish that she would have a conversation with his mom and just say, I can't keep doing this with my kid. Tell me if you would do this with my kid or with your kid. Is it okay for her to be wondering? You can't, I think Chelsea really needs to talk to her about it. I know it's a touchy subject, but it's definitely needed. With Brianna, I just really think that Lewis is not going to pay child support, and it's going to be a big issue. And I just don't see him. It's just hard for me to believe that when you're just so not involved in a kid's life and you don't even help out financially, that even when you're forced to financially help out, it's hard to believe that you're going to actually listen to that. So we'll see. And with Janelle, I don't know. I hope that her and Babs stay friends and stay on good terms, because that's always good for us to see, and we get a lot of information that way. So I really hope so. But on to our special segment, Teen Mom 2, Teen Mom U. So this week, I would definitely say that I'm like Jason in this episode, and Kale's friend, I think her name was Morgan, forgive me. But her friend that was kind of talking sense into her. Because I think, especially in tense situations, I always try to look at, the more adult-like way to approach things, or, the more mature way. So I know I try to do that sometimes, and by seeing how much it really helped these situations, it shows me that, I should focus on that more. So, but I do that sometimes, and I'm sure we all do sometimes, but other times, not so much. But, and then also Addie, because when I was younger, I always wanted to be just like my dad. I literally wanted to be him. So, she's too cute with Jeremy, and I just hope he steps up for her so badly. But, news and gossip, we have a little bit. These gals don't do too much, but little Lane turned 6 months old, so she's getting so big. And we have pictures of Kaiser and Ensley that Janelle just posted yesterday of them on a swing. So she has full custody of Kaiser and everything's going good. I mean, I don't know with this court date coming up with Nathan if anything changed or he ends up getting any more custody. But it seems that she has him a lot. So that's really good. And I think that's pretty much it. I know that Leah and Jason are still together, so that's really good. Because I do like him, so I want to see more of him. But all right, guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me by my little lonesome. And make sure to subscribe, like, and tune into all of our other AfterBuzz channels, such as the drama channel. This is our reality show channel, and everything else that we have to offer. We have so many things. So definitely check it all out. Thank you so much for joining. I'm your host, Mackenzie Fain, and you can find me on Instagram at Mackenzie Fain. Tune in next week. See you later, guys.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me,